All right. Who do we have? We got one on already. All right. Text Pat howdy. Tim Pace, I'm back. Kid 84. Hey, all right. Slimfire 54. What I understand is that last link worked for Walter, but it didn't work for Jake. We back. If Jake doesn't make it, then we'll just do whatever we want. It's your show. It's not my show. It's your show. Begin reloading. Hey. Can some of you guys grab the link and share it onto the Facebook? Put it onto my Bill Morgan. Put it onto the reloading. Put it onto the gun cleaning. Could you do that? We got Plow. Now Walter's getting the error. What is up? What's up? It's almost like it's a YouTube thing. I don't know. I don't like to be the conspiracy blamer. It's just weird. We got Juanito. GMAX on. So Jay's saying it's still not working. Walter's saying it's still not working. It's got to be the system. And I'm sorry because we had Walter on. Okay, I'm gonna do something. Take the link from here. Hey, Walter and Jake. Take the link from there. See if that will bring you in. There should be something wrong with Facebook. Plow, it's all my fault. Hey, at least we know who to blame. Holy smokes. Okay, so all right. While we're waiting for them, let me show you. Let me show you what I got here. Okay, I'm gonna pan, and I'm gonna show you guys my setup. I'll explain it to you while we're waiting for them, those two, to see what they can do. Hang on. It's the Russians. Oh, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's a collusion, a Russian collusion. Okay, so you guys know that the Dylan on the left, that's my 650. And so you guys have seen that there for the last couple. Hey, Jake's on.
Oh, there you go. I got on with the Apple.
Okay, perfect. Okay, give me just a moment. So on the left, I have my 650, and then on the right, I have my 550. Well, I've had the Dylan Square Deal B sitting up there. I've been trying to figure out where I wanted to put it based on angle of my, making my live streams and my videos. And I'm going to be doing some videos on that Square Deal B. That's the small one, the third one. I just mounted that, and it's just perfect in that spot. And then, so what I'll have the 650 set up for 45 auto, my 550 for 223 Remington, and my Square Deal B for 9 mil. And then I have my two T7 turrets and my single stage Big Boss. So that's what we got. And I thought I'd just throw it in there because I know there will be some who will kind of wonder. So, all right. So now all we need to do is get Walter on here, and we have a three-man panel. So everybody, I want to introduce you to Jake.
Hi, everybody.
And I thought there was just no way I was going to let this live stream roll without you, brother, because I knew that, you know.
I appreciate it.
Heck yeah, well, we appreciate you being on. I'm having a hard time getting my screen to work.
So for some reason, it made me sign out of my Google account that I'm signed into on my device and re-sign into it, and that's how I got in. So why it's not working on my phone that I normally use, I don't have any. I signed out and signed in on that one too.
Huh.
But I got to work on this one.
There you go, buddy. So maybe we'll get Walter on here.
Oh, there's the light. I think we're going to go.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to kind of watch where you put that, see if we can't get it set up how we had the other night.
So we had one over here. I think we're a little bit higher up, though. Only issue I'm having is this isn't the phone. It's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, right.
But let me know what to move that thing around to, and I'll see if I can't.
Move it to where we can see that die. It's got to come around to the side a little bit there.
To that way or that way?
The other way.
The other way?
There you go. Bring it a little more around. If you can, don't drop it on the floor. Then we don't. And then if you can back it up a little bit. Now, can you tilt it forward just a little?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's perfect right there. That's perfect.
All right.
Yeah. That's a pretty good angle there, so everyone can see the setup of the dies. Are you able, Jake? Are you able to see comments?
I can. I'll pull it up on my phone, and I'll run my phone in the background so I can read them as they pop up.
I'm gonna let you call everyone's name off. Let's give Walter a couple more minutes. So first off, what's everyone up to tonight? We have 29 on. Just so everybody knows, all the newcomers, this is Jake. He's relatively new to reloading, and he might tell you a little bit about his revolver. It's a pretty nifty revolver, and and I'm going to let him tell you the load we're working up and the bullets and everything. So, Walter, you have any luck, buddy? He said he was rebooting.
Oh, thanks about the press, guys. It's a nice little RCBS I got. Local store, too.
I love it. I love it. I think it's great. Andy, I'm up to watch this. Hey, so while we're waiting for Walter, I want to poll everybody on something. So you guys know I have my website, and on my website, I have a tab, and it's for the old Highboy Fords from 67 to 77 and a half. Well, Andy, 79Z28, he shared a picture with me of his Camaro drag racing it, got the front wheels off the ground. So I thought I'd like to make a tab on the website for you guys, like the vehicles you want to share. So what I'm kind of thinking is, to get the pictures, do I ask you guys to share them under one thread in the reloading group on Facebook, or we should do it in the chat? What do you guys think? You share your pictures of your Andy has a movie. I'll even put him on YouTube and share it so you guys can all see him. But what do you guys say? If you guys can post pictures of your whatever you want, your race cars, your 4x4s, your motorcycles, your four-wheelers, put them over on the chat, and I'll put them on my website, and I'll put your names under them. And so we'll just start that on the website. So just let me know what you think about that. So we're going to kick this off, Jake, and when Walter comes on, he comes on. So
Alrighty.
why don't you introduce yourself and call everyone off?
All right, so my name is Jacob, and I am newer to reloading. As far as calling everybody off, I'm going to start at the top.
Yeah.
Tex Pat, howdy. Tim Pays, Dub the Kid 84, Slimfire 54, Beginning Reloading, Slimfire 54 again, Plow, Walter Bunning, Janito Clay Hans, I might be saying that wrong.
Juanito.
GMC, Mrs. Highboy. Plow not. No, we already said him. Charles Miller. Andy 79Z28. I think we were just talking about him.
Yeah.
Slimfire John Connors. Kevin. Charles Miller Jr. I think that's about it. Terry Walker. Terry Walker's in here.
Right on.
And Kenneth Hayes. Hi, everybody.
All right. So a couple weeks ago, Jake, he posted a picture on the Facebook group. I'll kind of. He posted a picture on the Facebook group, and what he had were some Barry's bullets. These are the 125 grain flat points. Okay, he posted a picture of those, and then he posted. Well, here, let me kind of move this over so you can see the smorgasbord. And then he had some 2400. I thought, man, what an excellent choice of powder. Then he has his Starline brass, and then he has his primers. And so I said, somehow we got to talking. He was new to reloading, and I went and I got all this because I had exactly what he had. And I sent him a picture. I said, would you like to live stream with me? And he said yes. So we've been fortunate to have him come on. So him and me are going to dialogue back and forth the best we can, and we're gonna do a load session. So Jake, you want to share anything with them before we start?
Should I share what we're loading up, the recipe, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this recipe comes out of our Lyman 50th edition. And if you have the 50th edition, it'll be on page 417. But we're gonna run a suggested starting rate of 13 and a max of 17.7 of our 2400 Alliant powder. I'm gonna go at 14 on these 10 rounds a day. And we're going to be using CCI number 550 Magnum small pistol primers and Starline brass.
That's awesome. So I'm on the 49th edition. I'm on page, this is funny, 357. Doesn't get any better than that. So, okay, so he's got the 125 grain jacketed hollow point, like you said. He's running the 2400 by Alliant. This for my 357 41 mag and my 44 mag was one of my most favorite powders to use. By the way, we got Walter on. So Walter, this is Jake. Jake, meet Walter.
Hi, Jake. Hey, can you hear me?
Heck yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm having some issues here, obviously, with my camera. I had to go into the computer room, and the light is terrible, and the camera is funky, but I'm getting there. Give me another second.
Hey, no problem. So 2400, in my opinion, I see guys and they bash that, and then you find out they're running a big bore revolver. I'm like, are you kidding me? For a big bore? one thing about this powder, I will tell you right now, case capacity is everything. The load density in a case, it fills a case. So now you have very minimal powder migration. I've never had a problem with the recoil coming off this. And one thing I'll tell you, you go 357 mag, 41 Magnum, 44 Magnum, you always find 2400 in there. And there's another thing with 2400. You can find it anywhere. So I think it's in my opinion, I know there's a lot of modernized powder, but I think 2400 is going to be around a long time. So I think it's a great powder. When I saw that he had 2400, I was like, oh, game on, you know. And then once again, he's calling out the CCI. These are the 550. They're the small pistol Magnum primers. I'm just making sure I got that right. And Starline brass. So we're ready to roll. So all right, Jake, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. All right. What do you got for dies? Show us your dies.
So I'm running an RCBS die set. I don't know if we can see that one there.
Okay.
So this is going to size it, and it's going to poke out any primers, which I don't have primers in them today because I've already done that previously last couple weeks. And then the other
flannels are coming. The flannels are coming. Set on all things flannel at Flannel Fest at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela.
Go ahead, buddy. Keep going. You're doing good.
Sorry.
flaring die and a bullet seeder, and these are all RCBS.
Okay. Do you have another means of crimping, or do you use your seat die as the crimp as well?
I use the die as a crimp as well. I haven't been able to set it. It'll crimp for you in the same setting, but I haven't been able to actually have the bullet seat where I want it to with the die and do the crimp I want. If I get the bullet right where I want it at, it over crimps.
Okay, so are you saying that you crimp a seat and crimp in the same motion?
No, I seat it and then I come back through and I crimp them afterwards. I take the bullet seater off the die and I crimp them.
Okay, very good. So this is what we're going to do. You are going to now help me reload.
Okay.
You're going to help me, because I don't know how to, I have no idea. The best way to learn how to reload is to help someone reload.
Right.
So you're going to help me get my dies set up. I'm going to go ahead and put my shell holder in. And I have my dies, okay? When I'm running, you know I have my running dies. But I have something a little different. We're going to throw a curveball, okay? It's kind of a standardized standby question. Do you see that die?
Yeah.
That has no carbide ring, okay? So I want you to help me set this die up. How do I set this die up?
So what I've done is I raise my ram up and I actually set the die to the ram touching the bottom of the ram. Is one way of doing it, but a method that I like doing better is I actually put a shell case on there and I set it with the shell case as well.
In other words, you're saying that you put a shell case in there before you run that down?
I have, yeah, to see when I first started out, because when I first started out, I could not set my dies.
Well, you will after this. All right.
So, can I ask you something with your dies that you have there?
Yeah.
Do you have a ring? Because my dies have additional ring. So if I follow the instructions are kind of tricky with RCBS dies, for me at least. You set it by setting your ram, and you screw it down, and you lock your lock nut, and you unscrew it, and you run this underneath it, and that makes it a 357 die.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
that's what that ring's for, Jake. That's to, and they're not 100% accurate. You still got to reset when you switch back and forth a little bit. And I've used those in the past, and it's kind of a good idea that doesn't really work that well.
Yeah.
in my opinion, a guy needs to reset specifically for the 38 and the 357 every time.
Okay, so I'm correct. We're loading 357 mag, right, Jake?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Walter, does that ring, does he use that on all 3 dies, or?
Well, if you definitely are going to use it on the resized die.
Okay.
And although it doesn't have to be used there, where it's going to be most important is the bullet seating die.
Yeah. And when we get to that, I'm going to show you specifically why.
Okay.
And when we get to that, I'm going to have you use your calipers for us, and I'll demonstrate that over for the viewers, and they'll understand exactly what that ring does. Okay? So, okay, I'm going to show you this, Jake. This does not have a carbide ring.
Okay.
When you have a pistol die that doesn't have a carbide ring, this is a non-carbide.
Yes.
So, in other words, you would come down and touch the shell holder, then you drop the shell holder, and just like on your bottleneck cases, then you're going to apply cam over. And we're doing that because this is a steel die. And I'm letting you know that because you're new to reloading, and you might, Redding offers steel dies for the 9mm. They're tapered for the full length of the case, and it's a fabulous die. I actually really prefer that die. That die you would set the same way. So whenever you see a die that's a steel die with no carbide, you're going to run it down till you touch the shell holder.
Okay.
Then drop your shell holder and just turn it maybe an 8, or until you have strong cam over, and that's where you'll set that die. Now, let me show you how to set your RCBS, and I'm not talking about that that ring.
Were you talking about the carbide?
Yeah, no. Now we're going to set this up with the carbide, but I'm talking about that spacer.
Okay.
I don't know if you use that on the resized dies there. I don't know.
I haven't. I've really played around with it. I haven't, as far as when I resize the cases, and I don't know if it's because they're new or not. I haven't really had anything come up over 1,000s or a couple thousands.
Okay, I'm going to say you probably won't need that. And when I explain the seat die, you're going to understand. Now, I could be wrong. Someone could call RCBS and say, oh, Highboy was wrong in that. But let's see if I can prove. I'm going to see if I can prove this, okay?
Okay.
So what I would do, if, you know, you can, what I would do is I would remove your decap pin once your cases are decapped. That way you don't chance breaking it.
Okay.
Okay. But you don't have to for now. You know, if you want to, you can. Okay. And the other thing, you might want to look into Mighty Armory. This is, I just pulled this universal decapper and swage die out. This is all I decap with now. And so I don't even keep my resized die for the most part. I don't even keep my decapper pins in there.
Yeah, I'm with you, Highboy, on that. I decap is a separate step. I decap my cases right when I get back from the range and put them in the ready to be cleaned pile. And that way you don't have to worry about ever breaking, you know, the decap pin on your expensive dies. And well, not that the Mighty Armory one's not an expensive die. That's a nice die. But I have a dedicated decapping station, as many guys do. And that die, that's all it does. It lives there. It's a universal type die, like the Mighty Armory is. And that's really a good way to go, I think.
Yeah, it's efficient. So, okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to set our resize die up. This is a carbide resize. It has that carbide ring. So go ahead and run your shell holder all the way up.
Okay.
Now start threading your die down just until you touch your shell holder.
Right there.
Okay. Now I'm gonna match you.
Highboy, is that a Redding carbide ring die?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna ask you a question, Jake. Why didn't we apply cam over to that die?
Well, I think it's because you'll break the carbide on it. It's a little bit more brittle.
Perfect. So go ahead and set your lock ring.
Well, you hush it back there. I hear you.
We got a guess?
Right. The dog. My dog.
We love dogs. It's all good. Okay, so now take a case. Take one of your cases. On your new cases, I always resize them because after you fire them, you're going to, even on a new case, once you fire them, you're going to run through that die. So you're going to match it to that die first off. But I'm assuming you've already resized those, right?
No, not these ones.
Okay, so that case, it went all the way up. You don't need that one ring on that case. Okay, so go ahead and size however many cases you want to resize. And for right now, we're not going to prime and resize in the same step.
You know, I do have the primer set up for this press. I just haven't used it. I used it one time, and I didn't like the way it felt. And I wasn't getting the primers. And this is my first time reloading. This is my third time using the press and actually reloading with you guys. So, but the hand primer, and it's a RCBS as well. You can actually feel it. You can feel it in your hand.
Yep.
And that's why I've kept that one.
Well, I would say in all fairness, hand priming is a better way to go. Priming on the press is a convenience. It's just kind of built in. That's why I do like the Lee Auto Bench Prime. The problem with the hand primers is this just gets tiring, you know.
Yeah.
But if a guy had unlimited strength and agility and stamina, that would be the way to go, you know.
Yeah, and the hand primers compared to some of the other ones are not quite as expensive. And I have that same issue, Highboy, with my hands. They're getting so arthritic that I used to love using a hand primer. They got a good feel to it. But if I'm going to do any more than 50 cases, boy, it starts to bug me. So now I have that. Now I have a bench primer, and it works real well.
That's awesome. Which bench primer do you have?
I have the RCBS.
Okay, I had that one. It was a good one. Okay, so where are you at, Jake? Have you sized all your cases?
I have.
So now for priming, are you going to prime those ones?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll just kind of sit here while you prime. All eyes on Jake, make him feel nervous. No, we won't do that. Jake doesn't look like the kind of guy you want to tease. Okay, I just kind of picked that up about him.
Yeah, Jake didn't look like he's been raising turkeys all his life, you know.
No, no. That's funny.
Come here, Bubba's. Come here.
Got a helper back there?
I do. He doesn't like he doesn't have all the attention right now. He doesn't like it.
What kind of dog?
He's a boxer and a pit bull and mastiff.
Oh wow.
He's a mix. He's a mutt.
Is he a big boy?
He is. He's about 90 pounds.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I guess it'd help if I had that set up right. Go in there.
So, back in the day, and I'm not going to say what manufacturer it was, they did have a problem with their hand primers, and guys would be sitting on the couch watching TV, and all of a sudden they'd ignite one primer. Most of them would go off in their lap.
That'll wake you right up.
Yeah, that didn't make a lot of guys real happy.
So here's something to keep in mind that I've not experienced yet. Is even though I had all my primers flipped up the right way,
Yeah,
I had to go inside this primer itself, the hand primer, and one of them got flipped upside down, and it's now in the case upside down.
that's all right.
So for you guys to see what that looks like, there you go. Versus that one.
That looked like well, that was a new primer that was upside down?
Yeah.
That looked like
Oh, you know what? Maybe not.
that's a fired one.
That's a fired one. That's just your
That's
firing
okay.
pin mark.
Hey, we've all been there.
Sorry, guys.
You don't have to apologize.
Any of the priming systems that use a tube type primer magazine,
Yeah.
they're prone to having a primer flip here or there. Maybe the last one may decide to flip as it's coming out of that magazine, getting into to whatever loading breach your system has, or they'll hang up and you'll give it an extra wiggle or jerk and that'll flip them over. So that's just why you got to, before you put them in the box to go, you got to turn them all over and look at those primers and make sure they're all seated correctly and at an appropriate seating depth.
Yeah.
All right, those cases are primed. Let me get my shoulder back and we can rock and roll.
And we're doing 20 of them, right?
I have 9 up here. Do you want to do more?
No, oh, no. Hey, it's your show.
We'll do
What we had agreed is he was going to do like 10 of them just so he can take them and see how they are. And then if he likes them, then he can move them up a little bit, you know. So, all right.
And I can do more. And if they, another thing too, if somebody's interested in doing this and they want to watch us and ask questions, feel free to ask questions because I'm brand new at this and I'm going to be asking questions here soon too.
That's awesome. I told you guys he was going to be a good panelist.
All right, I got my shell holder back.
All right. So now we're going to go ahead and remove that die.
So are you pretty keen on the Redding dies versus all the other brands?
That's my favorite die.
I know Redding stuff. Like I really wanted to get a T7 to start on. The reason why I didn't is I got my whole kit with everything for the price of that press.
Well, see, I have my T7s, but I would still want a single stage.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anytime anybody asks me that, well, what should I go with? A turret, a single stage, a progressive? If they're starting, always I say start with the single stage. You're always going to need it and want to have one anyway. And this way you learn each step independently. You learn each step very well, what happens on each step. Trying to start up with a progressive can be very frustrating. Because you got 5 or 6 things going on at the same time, and it takes some experience, I think, anyway, to run a progressive.
Right,
and yeah, and then my next would be, hey, if you got the juice to go buy a nice turret, get it. But like you said, you've got a whole kit there for what a T7 would run you. So you're starting in a good spot, Jake. There's nothing wrong with that. You're always going to You don't want to get rid of that
No.
RCBS press. That's a good one.
All right. So now, Jake, what's the next die?
Next die is going to be a flaring die. That way we can widen the top of that case open and put a bullet in.
Mm-hmm.
What are we using for bullets tonight, Jake?
I have Barry's 125 grain flat points.
Okay. And they have a cantilure in them, right? So these are plated bullets with a cantilure?
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so on our expander die, how are we going to set that up?
Leave the same way to start out, right? I'm going to go all the way down and touch it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as the flaring stem, I always back it off because my first 10 bullets I did without a primer, no powder.
Yeah.
And I ruined some cases, man. I over-flared,
Sure.
under-flared, put a bullet in it, ruined the case.
Well, let's do this, okay?
Okay.
Remove that stem all the way out. All right, here we go. I'm going to do this. I'll go round one.
Okay.
Just for the visual, because we're visual, I remove the stem. I'm going to put the cartridge case up.
Okay.
I'm going to start running the stem down, okay? Now, sometimes when I'm helping someone one-on-one, like they're on the phone or are Skyping, they think that the minute this is entering the case, they're expanding. No, that's setting the neck tension, okay? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a bullet out. Okay, mine don't have a cantilure, by the way. Yours do.
Mine do. Don't we have the same bullets?
No, well, mine's at bullet number 95027. What's yours?
Mine is 95022.
Oh, that's what mine is. 95. I was really surprised when you said yours had the cantilure the other night. I was like,
I don't know if they do. Explain to me what that is.
okay.
That's the little circle of ridges all the way around.
Okay.
No, they do not. They're completely smooth.
Yeah.
Okay. This presents us with a problem.
Why?
You don't want to use a roll crimp on a bullet like this. A bullet like this, you want a taper. You don't have a taper, but here's the deal. I'm going to show you how to do it, okay?
Okay.
If you're really good, you can do it, but you just kiss it, and I'll explain this, okay?
Okay.
But you still want to get a taper crimp, but that's okay. Okay, that makes sense. When you're saying cantilure, I was like, I must have got ripped off on my box. Mine was the economy. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my bullet out of the box, and I'm going to keep running this stem down. I'm going to lock this on me just for a moment here. I'm going to keep running my expander stem down.
So the start you bottomed out your die with the ram.
That's right. I bottomed the die body down on the ram with that stem all the way out. Okay. You want me to show you again?
And your shell plate was still on the ram as well?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm there.
Okay. So what I'm doing now is I about got it. I'm running that expander down just enough that I expand the mouth of the case and that bullet will fit into there. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, watch. You don't want to have to force it, okay? But if you flare it any more than you need it, then you're cold forming that brass. You're not going to get as many reloads out of it, okay?
Yeah, not only that, but if you get that flare out there so that it looks like a blunderbuss, it may not even go up into your seating die if you over flare.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
So just the minimum that you can get away with and seat that bullet. If it's a plated bullet, it should just sit in there straight. If it's a cast bullet, then it needs to seat up to the bottom of the first lube groove or so to make sure you don't shave any lead off. Highboy, have you ever used a 9mm taper crimp die for 38s?
No.
I haven't, but a friend of mine told me that he used one time and that it worked okay. Seemed to me like it might be a little bit too tight, but
I'm going to say it sure would be a lot tighter. The problem that you would have with that, I think that's like just barely like 1,000 smaller in diameter.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing, but that's extremely tight neck tension, and it could cause that case to wrinkle when you seat the bullet.
Right. That's what I was thinking. For me, what I do, and I have a whole bunch of 38 357 plated non-cannelured bullets, and the same thing for 45. I got a bunch of them that were factory seconds from one of our popular companies, and the reason they were seconds is because they didn't make it through the cannelure machine. So what I did was I got the Redding profile crimp dies to use on those guys, and that's become one of my favorite dies now, is that Redding profile crimp. I use that on almost all of my pistol calibers at one point or the other, and it works really well with the plated non-cannelured bullets, because you can put that the first part of the profile crimp is a taper crimp, and you can put a fairly substantial taper onto it before it starts to do just a tiny bit of a roll. And you can get away with a little bit of a, just a tiny bit of roll on a plated bullet. But boy, if you put the slightest bit too much, what happens, Jake, is it cuts through the plating, and the plating will come off on you, the fragment on you.
Oh, okay, Jake. You feel like you're getting a flare there?
About where I'm at, sits in there. I have it.
That looks pretty good.
So, but I think I like that. It's a little bit snugger, I guess you could say, than the last ones I did.
Go a 16th more on your stem. A 16th of a turn. There you go.
Yeah, that's nice right there. You shouldn't have to cram that bullet down in there to get it to sit. You should be able to just set it on.
Okay,
and
hang on, Jake. Hang on. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there.
You're fine.
Okay. This is a fine point of setting your die. So now you're going to watch me do this. These are the fine points I think maybe get missed when people watch the videos. Now that you have that set, you do not want to budge that. You got it perfect.
Okay. You're
going to run the case, and the case, because it has neck tension, it's going to hold that seat stem. Now you take this lock ring. When you'll budge that is when you go to tighten the lock ring. You really can't hold that enough. But if you run the case up and you hold the stem at the same time, then you can tighten the lock ring. So go ahead and do that.
Yeah, good point. I always forget to mention that.
Do you do that on your bullet seating die too?
Huh?
Do you do that on your bullet seating die?
Absolutely. I
struggle with that one.
Well, when we get that,
would help.
You know what? That's the die that gets everybody, and we'll knock that one out of the park. We'll do that in a way that you'll understand what's going on. So Jake, I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Have you used that spacer ring yet?
No.
Oh, that's right. You haven't. Okay. So, what is the next step?
Powder charge.
Okay. Now, just so everyone knows, I'm really not gonna load this up for reals. Okay. Go ahead and charge your cases, and I'm gonna set this to. We'll watch you for a minute there.
Bubba's, we're not playing right now. Just give me.
Yeah, he wants to play bet with the metallic case.
All right.
Jake, did you buy that rock chucker kit brand new, or did you find it used?
I bought it brand new.
Yeah, good deal. It looks brand new. It's not even dirty yet.
No, not yet. Picked it up for like $280, $290 for the whole kit.
Yeah. With a scale? Did you get a scale? A beam scale or something?
A beam scale.
Nice.
Tonight I'm using a digital scale that I got off from Frankfurt Arsenal.
Okay.
And then I use Lyman check weights.
Yeah, good idea.
So
I have that same set of check weights.
It's not a bad set. It works.
Yeah.
And when I check scales back with each other, they seem to line up just fine. As long as they don't bump the beam scale, which I'm notorious for doing.
Yeah. Or put it in a breeze someplace. I load out in my garage, and that's always an issue with the beam scale, because there's always a little bit of draft coming in, and boy, it sure affects it. But I've come up with some workarounds for that. But
Are you charging the cases?
I'm just making sure I've got my powder measure set up.
Yeah.
And then I'll be charging the cases. I've noticed this stuff meters really well. And I'm always within about 0.2 or 0.3 what I want to be at.
what are we using for powder, Jake? 2400? Oh, good. Yeah. I like 2400. I use it a lot.
That's a good powder, huh?
Yeah. 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 It burns nice and completely on a Magnum charge.
I think if you told Elmer Keith that 2400 wasn't a good powder, he'd probably flick his cigar butt in your face. And I get a kick out of it, you know, when guys knock 2400. I'm like, oh, Elmer Keith would have kicked them off the ranch.
Right. Yeah. There's a handful of those powders that have been around for decades and that are still in use, and there's reasons for that, you know, like Unique and 2400, and you know, those powders, along with some others, have been tried and true and almost literally battle tested because they work.
I actually ended up with 2400. I went to my local Sportsman's Warehouse, and I talked to a guy that's been there forever who reloads. He said, "It's going to be your first time. You helped me pick this recipe out." And he recommended this just because of the way that it meters.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I mean, I'm always within 0.2 or 0.3 at the most, if not right where I want to be at.
Yeah. Are you saying 0.2 or 0.3 overall, or either way? I'm like, let's say you're 0. Could you be 0.3 low and 0.3 high? Or are you saying
usually high?
What's that?
It's usually high.
Okay. But is your spread? Your spread isn't as much as 0.6, is it?
No.
Okay, I just making sure.
Right.
Verifying that's what you were saying. 2400 does stay within 2 to 3 at the most deviation.
Did you get a powder trickler with that kit, Jake? Did it come with one?
So this is the setup I have. It's an auto drum.
Yeah, I have that. I have that same meter. I've had it for years. It's a nice setup. and what I do when I'm going to meter and I want a precise measurement, I think Highboy does this too. I'll meter a tray full, and yeah, you know, if and then trickle up. You know, I'll meter it, then put it on my, you know, what am I trying to say? I meter into my pan, put the pan on my balance, whichever one that I'm using, and then trickle up to exact. And it goes pretty quickly. You set your meter to drop a couple tenths below or a tenth low, and then meter up to exact, and you can get to where you're pretty quick at that.
I do have a trickler.
We can try that technique sometime. You know, when you got nothing else to do, you give it a try and see how you like doing it that way. But that RCBS meter, mine anyway, is very, very dependable on the finer pistol powders. When you get to something like Unique with more of a big flake type powder, then not so much. But with the ball powders, it does a really good job.
Okay.
So while he's doing that, Walter, where does that ring go on that RCBS die?
If you're going to use that ring, it goes between the lock ring and the top of the press, and you can have it there for the other dies, but you have to adjust them appropriately for it. And so far, we've done just fine without it. And of course, you don't need to put it in there at all if we're going to, you know, for this loading, we're doing all the 357, and you don't need to put it in there at all. There's no point in it. But the reason that ring is included is if you are mostly going to do 38s and 357s, you set your dies for the 38 level, and then you put that ring in there for the 357s. But what will happen is that if you do that with that sizing die, you're not going to get the shell holder all the way up to the base of the die. You gotta take it out of there for that.
That's why I was asking how to set that up. In a minute, I'm going to explain how that works. Charles Miller's is saying he never uses the ring. I'll explain why he gets away without using it, and you'll understand it.
Yeah, I don't use mine either. I have them in a set, but I don't use it. In fact, I have a box of my die set for 38 and 357. Of course, the resizing die is fine for both calibers. You don't have to do anything. That sizing die is set the same for both cases. But then I have two separate flaring dies and two separate bullet seeders and two separate crimp dies in that box. And that's the way I do it. And the reason I did that is that over time I decided, well, I want to try this die set or that die set. So they're not the same brand in that set. That's kind of mix and match. Highboy, while we're here on this, using the powder measure, anything you can add to the way that he's operating that measure?
Well, I wasn't watching too much, but what I was going to say at this point in the game, you want to verify, now that you've thrown those charges, you want to throw one more charge and weigh it to verify that you're still where you need to be. And the reason I asked you your deviation, make sure you're within that deviation, and then you're going to physically check your casing with a flashlight. That's the next thing. Right. On the powder measure, just so your cadence is the same and you're giving the powder enough time to drop. But I heard your motion. I think you were. But what were you thinking, Walter?
I'm thinking that maybe one of the reasons he's getting 2 to 3 tenths off is that we're not settling that powder in the measure, and he might be able to double tap that up at the top and bump it. You know what I'm talking about? So that at the top of each throw, you go up and you kind of bump that lever so as that you settle the powder into the chamber in that hub. the same way every time. If we don't do that, then as the powder level drops in the measure, we start to get even more issues with our variation and drops. I think Highboy's going to set his up and show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to see what the variation is. The true test of how uniform a powder throws is to go up on the higher end of the capabilities of the powder measure and see what it is there. In other words, like if you're only throwing, say, 3 or 4, you know, you're not gonna see as much of a deviation. Whereas when you're throwing more, that's when you're gonna see the deviation. This powder, oh my gosh, you know, people are always saying, always worried about how long powder will last, how to store it. This was made back in March 14th of 2000. It's been sitting in my garage. Let's see. We're going into the winter. It'll get down to like 60. In the summer, it can get 90. This still smells like a chemical factory. Okay, where are you at, Jake?
So they're charged. I checked them. They all look the same. And throwing the charges, I did notice I threw 5 more charges into the pan and weighed each individual one.
Mm-hmm.
I was 14.2, and then I was 14.1 and 14, and then I can't remember 14 something. When I threw the 6th one and I just threw the lever up, and I keep the same motion going in, I actually threw a 14.5.
0.425 difference.
So 14.5 would be half a grain, but that was a pretty aggressive throw. It wasn't metering with it.
Well, I will tell you something, okay, just so you know.
Yeah.
For what we're doing here, you don't have to get those uniform because you know you're not anywhere close to max. What was max? What was max?
17.7.
Yeah. So
okay.
But what I would do is on your powder measure, just work with it. You know, instead of having a reload session, put some powder in there and just take a case, or just use your pan and work with it, just trying to get that to where it's throwing consistent. But what we're going to do when we're done here, I'm going to take my powder measure and we'll see what my deviation is.
Okay.
And that'll give you an idea of whether you're close or what. Okay. So okay, the next step is now we got to work with this die. We got to figure something out. What's the ring for? So go ahead and remove that die.
Oh, I over-tightened it.
Oh, come on, Hercules. Rip that bad boy off.
Yeah. Hang on. I wish I had my wrench up here, which I don't. Which I should, if you... There it is.
There you go.
Didn't need a lot, just more than what my hands would do. So, Highboy, are we going to use that ring on this one?
All right. This is what I want you to do. I want you to grab your ring. Actually, grab your calipers.
Hey.
Set them at 0.135. Can someone tell me what 0.135 is? Not Walter. He'll know. It can't be you, Walter.
Okay. Hey, while you're doing that, I think I've got a better workaround here. I'm going to go try my iPad here and see if I can come up with a better picture.
Okay.
Hush. No.
Okay. You got it set at 0.135?
I think so.
Okay. No. 0.135 is the difference from a, oh, gee. 0.135 is the difference between 38 Special and 357 Magnum. So now I'm going to put this on me, and I'm going to show you guys a little something, something. Okay.
Hey, can I take you guys with me and take my dog out back real quick?
Oh, heck yeah. We'll take a break.
You hot shit.
Oh, you're going to watch me, right?
I'm going to watch you, yes.
Oh, I think you want to watch you walk the dog. Yeah, okay. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys this, okay? What is that ring for? Okay. Kind of think of it as a machinist dream, a jig to help you with something. Okay, it's okay. So
Peace. These
dies that I have, these are for both 357 Magnum. Hang on, I'm gonna. I don't know how to mute that. Okay, my dies are for both 357 Magnum and 38 Special. Well, you have 135 thousandths difference between those two cases. Okay, 38 Special shorter, 357 Magnum longer. So now I'm going to show you this. I'm going to run this. This is the seat and crimp die. The portion of this die that seats the bullet is this seat stem. Okay. I'm going to try something. Okay. The portion of this die that seats the bullet is your seat stem. The part of the die that does the crimp is the die body. So with this all the way down, let me grab something. Hang on.
While he's grabbing that, he mentioned, Jake, earlier that at some point you want to look down in those cases with a flashlight, and I'm notorious for not remembering to do that step. So on all of my loading blocks, I got that phrase just written right on there, so it's staring me right in the face. So that I don't forget, man. Light them up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Show that. I didn't have it on you. Show us that, Walter.
Oh, I'm just saying that I'm notorious for forgetting to look in there, and particularly when I'm doing a loading block, I want to just kind of go look at them. No, you need to hold that flashlight over there.
Yeah, that's right. That's a great point. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys this. Here I have a 38 Special cartridge case. And I'm taking this, the die body, and I'm running it down to where the crimp's just touching the mouth of the case, okay? I'm not crimping. But when I take this 357 mag case, I crimped it. To not crimp this, I would have to have this raised 135 thousandths. So what that ring does, okay? Let's say you're running the same bullet for your 38 Special and your 357 Magnum. Now, you set your seat depth up for your 38 Special with that. You set it up, and you want to use that for 357 Mag. Simple. You pull the die, put the ring in, and set it, and you've matched it. A machinist dream. It's machined in, and you still have to check the tolerances, but you'll be close. That's what how I understand that. I've used RCBS dies, but I used to have a lot of Lyman, a lot of the Lee, just different dies. But my dad had a lot of RCBS, and I understand that that's how the RCBS works.
That's exactly what it does.
Yeah. Now I'm going to explain something to the viewers, and you have to understand this. And this is knowledge for Jake, but you don't have to worry about this with 357 Magnum. When you're using your dies that are capable of both cartridges. In other words, if you have a set of dies only for 38 Special or a set of dies only for 357 Magnum, you will not have this issue. You ever wondered why they make a set of dies only for 38 Special and only for 357 Magnum? Well, here's one reason that I've always thought. I can take this 38 Special case and I can put it into here, and I relieve it so I'm not crimping, right? So I take my seat die, or my seat stem, and I run it in, and I'm seating the bullet. And if you're like, this is calling for 1.590 on our 357 Magnum. Well, let's just say that's what it's for our, let's just use that as our example length. Let's say for your 38 Special, you're setting it to 1.590. You will actually run out of stem room and you can't seat the bullet anymore. Why? Because the die body has to come down. Therefore, you have to get that die body very critically close to the mouth of that case. But did you know, sometimes there's some bullets that you can't quite seat all the way because it just won't make it. For what it is an oddball bullet. That's why they sell specifically 38 caliber and our 38 Special or 357 mag. Does that sound correct, Walter?
Yeah, and not only that, here are, and I don't use I use RCBS dies for 38 357 along with a smattering of other dies that are in this box. But here's two of those rings from two different RCBS sets. And this one measures 0.128, not 0.135.
That would be 44.
And this one is 0.126.
Those for 44 caliber?
No, those are the ones that came in the 38 357 sets.
So
okay.
I'm 1.27.
Yeah.
Well, and you want to know something? That would be right, because it's got to be decked a little low to make up for if it's too high. That seat stem, it isn't. There's some bullets you won't be able to seat all the way, so they got to deck that just a little low.
Right. Well, but my point, Highboy, is that the reason I don't use them is because they do vary from set to set by a couple 3,000, so they're not exact anyway.
Yeah,
and you're going to have to readjust the die. I just as soon readjust the whole die. I mean, this will get you close, and so they're short. I mean, they're shorter than they need to be to seat that bullet all the way down anyway. So the idea was that you put this in, and this will get you close, and then you got to screw your stem down just a little bit more to get it exact. But my point is, why use them at all then if you got to do that anyway? So
yeah,
right.
I totally agree with that. Totally. Okay, so now, Jake, we're gonna go ahead and set this up. Go ahead and if you have your die out of the press.
Right here.
Okay. For right now, raise the seat stem up a little ways. Let me lock this on you. Okay, go ahead and start. Get it started into the threads.
Okay.
Okay, run the ram all the way up. Now run it all the way down till you touch the ram.
So right
now, back it off 2 turns.
Okay.
Take your case. Now watch me do this before you run your case up.
Okay.
If these were 357 mag cases, 2 turns would be enough. Okay, points. Each turn is for 0.7 tenths of an inch. 2 turns would be 1.14, right? But this is with that 1.414, you got to add in 0.135. So what am I saying? Right now, when I come up into this die, I could, right there, I'm crimping. You don't want to crimp. So now turn your die one more turn out. Go one more turn out. Okay, go ahead and do that. Turn your die 3 turns out.
I'm 3 turns out.
Okay, now run your case up. And go slow. You don't want to accidentally crimp it. Okay, you shouldn't be feeling anything, am I right?
I am just a little bit.
Okay, back your die off. Okay, look at your case. Make sure you can still put a bullet into it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now remove that bullet.
Sorry, I need a code that was just sent to your phone.
Oh, hang on. My wife needs my phone.
Oh, Daddy, charge this. How much?
302-128.
Yeah, Jake, while he's doing that, there's different schools of thought on how far to back that die out after you contact the case. Anywhere from an 1/8 to, I've seen guys go all the way out to a full turn. But the idea is you don't want any crimping going on during the seating process. You don't want the sides of that case mouth coming in and scraping on the bullet until you're ready to crimp.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm back. So now I'm going to put this on me, and I want you to watch this. This is how I do this. Yeah, Walter just said some guys back it out a quarter past or 1 turn. I think 1 turn is too much, because the higher up you bring that die body, the less chances you have of seating your bullet all the way, because your stem is going higher. So I'm going to run my case up, and I'm not touching. And now I'm going to turn this die. I'm just now touching the mouth of that. Once I turn the mouth of that, now I'm going to back it off right about and somewhere between an 1/8 and a quarter, and that's all. So now let's watch you do it.
Okay, so I go up. I'm not touching, and now I'm going to tighten it to touch it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm touching there.
Now back it off in between 1/8 and a quarter.
Okay, about right there.
How's that, Walter?
That should be good.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not going to find your cases varying in length by more than a quarter turn. You can, I somewhere have them written down, and you probably know, Highboy, when you got a 14 threads per inch there, what a full turn amounts to in thousandths, but a full turn is a lot. And like you said, if you're doing 38s in there, you might not get that bullet seated all the way down if you go all the way in there. But anyway, a quarter turns plenty. You want it out of there far enough so if you got one case that's a couple thousandths longer than the other ones, that it's not going to get crimped. So
Okay.
a quarter turn covers you plenty for that.
1 complete turn of that die raises that die 7/100ths of an inch. Okay, yeah. So think about it. That's if you have a 5/1000th difference between 2 cases, you're covered.
Yeah.
What I did, Jake, in 1 inch on that die, you have 14 threads. So I divide 1 by 14, and I get 0.7/700ths. Okay. So you go, if you look at the length of your cases where all your new Starline are within oh my gosh, 2/1000ths max, that 700ths is way higher than that. Now, I can, based off where you set that, I can take mixed head stamp cases, and I can set my die just like that, and I don't hit any of them. If you do, back it off a little more. But you just got to play with that, okay? And Jake, if this loses you, you can call me, and we'll. Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do
here in the
what's
ram
that?
Up,
what's that?
Like that. I already did the back off on it.
Yeah.
leave the ram up and lock the lock nut?
Now you don't have to leave your ram up because that case isn't touching nothing, so that doesn't matter. So now hold that die body, and I mean hold it good, and tighten your lock ring down. When you tighten that lock ring, make sure that die don't move, because you can see it's still close, right?
Right.
Always remember that something. Always remember this. I'm going to tell the viewers this. If you ever go to seat a bullet and you can't seat it deep enough, you got to take that die body down closer to the mouth of your cases, and then you'll sink it.
Okay.
So now that we have that, now we're ready to seat the bullet. Let's go ahead and remove your stem all the way out, and I'm going to just, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to set my bullet on there, and now you do the same thing. Now, go ahead and run it up, and you don't have a stem into there, so we know we're not going to overseat it. Now take your seat stem and begin threading it in until you touch.
Right there.
I got, okay, dead horse, I got, okay, hang on. 0.07 70 thousandths, that's 700ths. Am I correct? That's how I say it.
That's right, Highboy.
Yeah.
So
You can say 70 thousandths or 70 hundredths.
yeah, it's a little bit over that, but the calculation works out. And this is a good number for you guys to remember. Write it down on a sticky note or something someplace and put it up on your desk, because all of those dies that are 14 threads per inch are going to work the same way. One full rotation is about 71 thousandths, but an eighth of a turn is about 9 thousandths. Okay. A quarter turn or a 16th of a turn is still 4.5 thousandths. I mean, and that's quite a bit, but so that's a good number to remember, that 71 thousandths per full rotation or 9 thousandths per eighth of a turn.
Good stuff. All good stuff. Okay, so now what we're going to do, you're going to drop the cartridge.
Okay.
And begin turning your seat stem in. And am I correct? Our cartridge overall length is 1.590.
Yes.
And what you're going to want to do is every once in a while, pull your caliper out and just kind of keep watching it.
I got a ways to go.
Yeah. I'm gonna put you on to old Jake there. He's the main attraction. It's not me.
Oh, it's everybody, man.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, anyone that wants to get on and do this, we'd be glad to do it.
And for those of you guys that are kind of listening and watching here, that 71 thousandths per full rotation, that's for the die body. Okay, that's not necessarily for that seating stem. So those threads are going to be different. I don't even know what they are. Get a thread gauge and measure them. Those seating stems are going to be different in each die set, but the die bodies are all the same, so that they'll fit in your press.
There we go. 1.590.
Right on.
Now I want to show everybody something.
Well, I went a little too far. I'm at 1.586.
Oh, that's fine. You're 4 thousandths low. You can adjust the next one up 4 thousandths. I wouldn't worry about that. So I don't have much threads left I might have 10,000ths. So that would have meant if I would have backed my die body off much more than that quarter turn between an eighth and a quarter, I would have never ever made that seat depth. Is anyone confused on that? Does everyone understand that pretty good?
Say that again, Highboy.
Okay. Let me grab my pointer. All right. I seated this bullet and I adjusted this seat stem down.
Okay.
If you look at my threads are even with the top of that lock ring.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
I can't adjust that stem down much more. That means when I was setting this die body up and I adjusted it down to touch the mouth of the case and then I relieved it just a little over an eighth, if I would have went much past that, there's a good chance I would have never seated to 1.590. That's why the critical deck height of that die body is very important that you remember. If you don't have enough room on the seat stem, you have to try and budge your body down a little bit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jake, here's a seating stem out of the same die set that you have. Okay, that I took it out, stuck my thread gauge on there, and that's 20 threads per inch. So that means one full rotation of this guy is 50 thousandths. And
okay.
Highboy. So,
sorry.
Yeah, a 16th of a turn is just a little over 3,000.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just doing a 16th of an inch is kind of, or 16th of a turn, that's kind of hard to gauge. You could take a guy could take a little bit of white fingernail polish and put a little dot right on there so that you could see, where since you got a reference mark on there. I do that with some of my other dies, like my crimp dies, but so on your stem there, a 16th of a turn is going to be 3 thousandths, and that can be a lot. You're getting in there close. You're trying to dial it into 1 or 2 thousandths, and you breathe on this thing, and you've gone too far.
Yeah.
So, truth be known, if you're within a couple thousandths either way, that's good. Measure some factory ammo sometime and see what they're like.
Okay.
They'll be all over the place. They'll be 6 thousandths off from one end to the other, easy, unless it's match ammo. But
okay, Jake.
589.
You know what? I would leave it because your next one might be 1.590. Okay, I'm going to show everybody something. So Jake just set his seat die up, and he's 1,000ths under. Am I correct, Jake?
Yep, that was dead on.
Let me show you why I wouldn't adjust that. I set my first one up for 1.590.
Okay.
I ran my second one up. Oh, come on. 1.591. Okay. So
you would be okay with it being over the maximum?
1.5989. Yeah, 1,000ths over the maximum. Is that what you're kind of questioning?
Yeah, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, that wouldn't bother me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know the cylinder still has plenty of room in it, and you have your forcing cone, but don't you start changing pressures when you over crimp, or you make a round longer or shorter than it's supposed to be, or you seat a bullet deeper?
Okay, I'm gonna pull this a little closer. All right, we're gonna have a talk.
Okay.
We're going to have a little talk, okay? And this is for everyone because I get a lot of questions on this. What's the difference between what's happening on the end of that bullet and the base of the bullet in regards to being a thousandths either way? The reason you're getting a difference has nothing to do with the positioning of the base of the bullet. It has to do with the roundness of that.
Okay.
As an example, you'll go on the forums and you'll see some guy that's new to reloading, and he'll say, well, I'm seating my bullets for my 44 Magnum, and I have 7 thousandths difference. And these guys come in and they rip him up and they yell at him, tell him to pull the bullets. Are you kidding me? Some bullets that I put in my 44 Magnum, 12 thousandths difference. Now wait. Let's use 0 as our descriptive point here.
Okay.
Our target. 12 thousandths doesn't mean I'm 12 thousandths over. It means most of them were pretty close to 0, but every once in a while you'd have one that was 6 thousandths high and one that was 6 thousandths low. Why? Because the top of the bullets are cockeyed.
Okay.
They're cockeyed. That has nothing to do with your base. Now listen very carefully to what I'm saying. We're shooting for 1.590.
Yes.
You come out, let's say you do 10 of them, and you write all your numbers down. And you find out that you had some that were 3 thousandths high and some that were 3 thousandths low. That gives you what I call a 6 thousandths spread. So you know, okay, I've got a 6 thousandths spread. So the next time you come to reload, you know you're 3 thousandths low or 3 thousandths high, and all of a sudden you got one that's 8 thousandths high. Now you got a problem with the die. Now think about this. If we just said, you heard what Walter said about these finer threads, everything's perfect. If you have this perfect and it's locked down and it hasn't wandered, you're where you need to be. That's the bottom line. If someone said to me on a forum, I'm having this deviation, I would say, is that outside of the normal deviation you get? In other words, if it's climbing up that past that height you normally get, or too low, then you got a problem. And normally, I'll tell you how it works. If your stem comes loose, your cartridge always gets longer. Gets longer. And if you are seating with a cantilever or a crimp groove, you'll catch it. But that's kind of the kiss of death with bullets like of this nature that doesn't have that. You might not notice that.
Okay.
So it really is good when you get a chance to be able to. The nice thing about the single stage, once we seat these, you can check all of them before you crimp. On a progressive press, you're running, and it might catch it too late. Did we lose you, Jake? Oh, there you are. Okay, so have you got them all done?
I do, yeah.
Okay. I want everyone to know I don't know how to reload, by the way. I have no idea what's going on. So Walter will he'll vouch for me.
Yeah, you don't know how to reload.
I don't.
I stood there and watched you. So I'm sitting here measuring some Federal 357 factory.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just here's what that bullet looks like. And of course, these are some, and so 1.562, 1.563, 1.565.
Yeah.
1.563. So you know you
got a 3,000 spread right there.
So
there's your
4 thousandths right there, and that's just the first 5 I pulled out of there. So you know there's going to be
That's
There's
a
gonna be
5,000
variation.
spread. And so now when some guy on the forum is beating someone up, you can see that factory. So always remember this: it's the ogive or the curve of the bullet, the nose of the bullet, that's what's different. It's not the base.
Right. And part of the point of reloading is we can do better than Federal.
Right.
We take our time, get our dies adjusted right. We can come up with better ammo. That's one of the reasons that we do it, besides the fact we're all cheapskates.
But the other thing is it will only come in as close as your bullets will allow. And there's something else. Listen very carefully. Don't chase a cartridge overall length. In other words, don't try and move your die up and down to predict the next one. Just leave it, let it ride, and how they come out, that's how they come out. Okay.
Okay.
And then our revolvers isn't like a rifle where we're trying to be 5,000s from the land. We don't seed off the ogive. We just see when we go. So now, what are we ready to do?
Oh, we got a crimp.
Got a crimp. Okay.
And I don't have the taper crimp. I just have the,
I'm going to show you how to crimp these, and I'm going to match it. I'm going to use the roll crimp on this. You're not supposed to. What were you when you took your first? Okay, he's only shot 2. He only had a chance to shoot 2. What did you shoot with those 2?
What weapon or?
No. Did you shoot a target or what?
I shot a tree.
Oh, a tree. Okay. Did you have any signs of the bullet coming apart before it hit it?
No.
Okay.
No, and they shot smooth. So the only other thing I've ever ran through this revolver are these Hornady 125 grain XTPs, and that's because my local store carries them.
Yeah, that's a good bullet, by the way.
And
yes, very good bullet.
Those actually have a thumb.
Yeah, they do.
This at 13 grains was a lot lighter. I didn't feel it so much in the hand. So it was actually a little bit more comfortable to shoot. I was surprised. I wasn't quite sure what I was expecting.
Yeah.
So I liked it, and then I bumped it up to 13.5 on another time I was reloading, and I haven't shot those yet, and that's why I did 14s a night. Was just that way when I can get out. And I'm working with a guy in town who has a range, trying to go out and shoot his range. He's got a really nice range.
Yeah.
It's not really open to the public though. But other than that, wait till hunting season's over before I can actually go out in the woods and start plinking again. So I know some people still do it. It's not something to be out doing though. Yeah. People are trying to get their hunt on and bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to set this up.
Okay.
And then we're going to watch you do it. So you take your seat stem out. You just remove it. You don't need it. And we have our die loose. And now what we're going to do is, let me see if I can find that card. Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on.
You go lay down.
Yeah, when you weigh 100 pounds and you're half pit, where do you sleep? Wherever I want.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
I'll wake up, he's on top of me, or he'll be out on the couch and he's got the back cushions pushed over. I'm like, what are you doing?
Would you say it was Mastiff and Pit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a great dog.
Okay, so this is going to make Walter and most of you guys drool. He knows what this is. Yeah. 45 Colt.
There you go.
What the
45 long Colt.
Yeah. What the crimp does, a roll crimp, is it rolls it in. Now, see how I got it high on the crimp groove. You want it high. But we don't have a crimp groove. And the problem is when we take a plated bullet, first off, the plating is thicker than a jacket. It's not a strong jacket. A strong jacket on a soft cast bullet makes it a Grinnell hardness of 50. I don't know what the Grinnell hardness of this is, but it doesn't matter because you don't have any vernal hardness if you cut that jacket. Now, this is how you'll know if you're cutting the jacket. I'll tell you how you know. On plated bullets, we're supposed to keep these under 1,200 feet per second. It is not the end of the world if you go over 1,200 feet per second. Trust me. Okay. It just comes apart. And stand,
the plating does.
Yeah, and stand 3 feet from a piece of paper and pull the trigger. And when that plating comes apart, you'll see the plating just rips the paper up. You'll see all these rips, right?
Okay.
Your jacket is coming apart. Okay. So we're not going to get over, on a jacket, trying to, what are our velocities on this? Did you see?
So they are running a, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this book, they're running a universal receiver. So I don't know who makes the firearm, but it's a 4-inch barrel. It's a 1 18 3/4 inch twist. And their velocity is anywhere from 1,159 to 1,478.
Yeah. With this, okay. I'm going to run the numbers and okay. Give me just a second. Can you guys give me a second and I'll run the numbers?
Sure.
And then I'll tell you how I do this. Okay.
Right. And so there's definitely a difference between how we crimp a lead bullet to how we crimp a jacketed bullet with a canalure and how we crimp a plated bullet with no canalure. The plating is so thin. So all three of those are going to be different. You take a lead bullet. This one happened to be one that I cast and powder coated, and that the bottom groove is a lube groove, but with powder coating, we don't need the lube in it. So that top groove is the crimp groove, and that case mouth wants to come over and lock that thing in place. And you got to kind of watch that because the crimp groove is beveled. And when you crimp in that, with a heavy crimp, it'll actually pull that bullet down just a little bit more. So you got to pay attention to that. So Highboy's back, so I'll let him take off with his point there.
I didn't get my formula to come out because I don't know how to reload. My brain's tired. I haven't done it for a while. If I get it on a piece of paper by hand, I could do it.
So what I've done so far, because I have like 80-some cartridges here, as I have reloaded. It's the same recipe and it's the same method, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I start the crimp out and I kind of feel for it, and I went until I had. I don't know how these are all going to run yet, obviously, because I haven't shot them, but I went until I could actually feel that crimp on there. I don't know if I've cut any of that copper plating or not, because I haven't shot these yet, but
do you have a bullet puller?
I do. I got the hammer.
Well, sometimes you don't do it tonight, but sometime set your die up for that same crimp and sacrifice a bullet and put it in there and go ahead and pull it and see what that ring looks like. See if it's cutting the plating or not.
Okay.
Hey, what are you running for a charge weight? What are you running for a charge weight real quick?
I'm at 14.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
But I have 13 all the way up to 14 now.
Okay. And we're shooting this out of what's your gun that we're shooting this out of, Jake?
This will be a 28-2.
Oh, okay. Nice. And it's a 6-inch then?
4.
Oh, 4.5. Okay. Yeah. So that'll be, you'll get velocities pretty close to, but not exact that the book got out of their 4-inch universal receiver. All that is a tube. It's just a standard barrel. It's not on any kind of a particular real firearm, but they'll be close. They'll be within probably 70 feet per second, one way or the other, of what you're going to get with the same load.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
You guys keep chatting. I'm on a mission. I might not. It's been a while since I've run this, and
Yeah,
there's
there's a formula around out there, but I forgot it ever since I got a chronograph. I use those instead.
So you're a revolver guy. You're casting your own bullets.
Yeah.
Do you prefer the lead bullets over the plated?
They're cheaper by a considerable amount if you have a decent source of lead. For example, my 9mm bullets, I use almost exclusively cast bullets in my semi-autos.
Really?
Yeah, and the bullets that I cast for that are costing me about a penny and a half.
Okay.
You know, minus my time, of course.
Right,
which is worthless anyway. But just for the lead, for a 115 grain bullet, you know, a penny and a half, and I'm making that whole round for 6 cents, which is what we're, you know, paying for 22 ammo over the counter these days. So,
right.
So yeah, cast lead bullets are inexpensive. I have a couple of pistol caliber rifles, a couple of Henry Big Boys. I shoot lead out of them. I tend to shoot more jacketed and plated bullets out of my revolvers. And I don't have a real good reason for doing that, but powder coating produces practically zero lead. I don't have to pay as much attention to my alloy for hardness. We were talking about this the other night on bullet hardness, and it's not as big an issue if you powder coat those bullets because the gas is not going to cut through that bullet as it goes into the breech and down the barrel. And so we don't have anywhere near the barrel leading issues. Doesn't mean you have zero,
okay,
but you have way less.
So Ratchet Man says don't shoot cast bullets fast either. So he's saying not to shoot at high velocity with them.
Unless they're laser cast.
Unless they're laser cast, because
if you're gonna generate high pressure, you can shoot cast bullets, but you're not gonna shoot pure lead bullets. You got to mix an alloy that's going to take it up to 18 or more. Yeah. And in order to shoot it, you know, like a 44 Magnum going out of there at 1,500 feet per second, if you try to use soft lead, you're going to have problems cleaning that gun when you get back, and you might get 30 rounds through it before your accuracy starts dropping off because of barrel leading.
And that's leading of the barrel?
Yeah. So you can do it. You just have to pay attention to having your casting alloy correctly matched for that load. And you can do that. That's not a hard thing to do either. I mean, we buy alloying metals from 2 or 3 companies and to harden up your alloy. And it's, you know, it's not hard to do. Makes your round a little more expensive.
So with the original 357 that Elmer Keith made, was a 158 grain? Do you know if that was cast or if it was?
Those were cast bullets.
Yeah.
They were cast bullets.
You betcha. In fact, I got some somewhere, I think.
Okay. I want to kind of pick up where I was, and then we can finish with that if you're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I did is I took a little bit of algebra formula. Not that I'm good at algebra. But I ran the formula, and this is what you do. On page 357, what you're going to do is you're going to take the 1240. Hang on. Are you looking at your manual there?
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to take 1240, divide that by 13.9, and what are we running? 14?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm on the wrong. Okay, I'm sorry.
Where'd you get the 1240 at?
I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong recipe. Okay, can we get on the right recipe here? Okay, so what I did, I took the velocity of 1159.
Okay.
Divided by 13. And then I multiplied that by the 14 grains. That gives me 1248 feet per second.
Oh, I gotta write this down.
That's okay. I can say it again.
Well,
Let me make sure I got this right.
Okay.
Because you guys, it's been a long day. 1159 divided by 13 times 14. Yeah, okay. So for your formula, you're going to take your velocity and you're going to divide it by your grains and multiply that by the new grains. Velocity divided by charge multiplied by the new charge, and that gives you your velocity based off theirs. Numbers don't lie. Okay.
They go off of their suggested charge, right, of 13.
That's right. Okay, just so the viewers know, if I take a chronograph, you're sitting out in the desert or wherever you're at, you got a chronograph, and you're running 13, what he's running here, 13 grains of 2400, and you measure that at 1159. Now you have another cartridge with 14. If you do the math based off your chronograph, if you've thrown your powder right, your chronograph should give you what you did on paper. I should do that on a live stream out in the desert, and I just might do that. It'd take me a little bit to put it together, but actually numbers don't lie. If Lyman or whoever ran these loads would have calculated that out to the next step up in grains and chronographed it, it would have been real close to what they came up with. So, so now, okay, now we need to crimp this. How do you know that you're over crimping? If this was under 1,250 feet per second and you shot it at a piece of paper 3 feet away, you'd see all these particle specks. Now, one thing that Andy said, he said if he shot a piece of paper from 3 yards away, he'd catch it on fire. No, if you can't catch a piece of paper on fire that way because it burns too fast. So this is what we got to do. We take the seat stem out.
Yes.
We back the die out, and we're just gonna. Remember, you want to run it up enough that you're not going to crimp it. Now I'm just going to come down to where I'm touching that. You begin feeling it resisting. You're just starting to come into the, how you know you're really coming into the crimp? Your die won't wiggle, okay?
Your die won't?
Yeah. One thing, if you're just cranking it and you're kind of lost, that doesn't tell you nothing. That doesn't tell you that you're crimping. We're coming into the crimp, but we're not quite crimping. When this die locks up, now you're crimping.
Right. Yeah, as soon as that wiggle goes out of it, that's because that crimp ring that's in there is a narrower diameter than the rest of the die. And when that thing gets down there and starts touching the tip of that bullet, boy, it wants to lock that die in place and it won't wiggle.
Okay.
So do I want to put a case in there and then lower my die down?
Okay, I'll do it again for you. But now I'm going to say this, and I want to try not to be interrupted. Not that what you say was good, but I want everyone to understand this.
Okay.
Because we're going to take a roll crimp, and we are going to apply it to a plated bullet. The reloading guys that make these dies, they're going to tell you you can't do it because most guys don't know how to pull this off. But I'll show you this.
Okay.
This is just. I was talking to one of the guys over at Starline. He said when he's taper crimping, the minute he sees that, he backs it off. He just backs it off. He's done. That's all. So watch this. I'm going to relieve the die a little bit. What I'm doing, I'm dropping the cartridge case, and I'm turning about a little over a 16th. An eighth. Just an eighth. Now listen to my die. My die's going to talk. You hear that? Now listen to me. It's locked. How do I know? I got cam over. Now watch. I unback it about a 16th and I got wiggle. So as long as you're going a 16th, once you turn to 16th and it locks, stop. That's your very, very, you're kissing it. That's kissing the mouth just so, because if you go any further, you'll cut through that plate. That's
Okay.
what you'll do. Okay? So now all eyes on you. We'll watch you. I hope I wasn't rude, Walter. I hope I wasn't.
You're good.
You just tell me to shut up.
So I'm going all the way down, and I'm there. I don't really have any chatter.
Okay, put your ram all the way up. Now wiggle the die.
It's locked.
It's locked?
Oh, yeah.
It's wiggling, isn't it?
No. You might see my table moving a little bit because it's not secured to a wall.
Okay, can you take that case out and show it to us?
Oh, the case is not in there. That's just the RAM.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you're doing this with a loaded case, bullet
Okay.
in place, a seated bullet, and you run the die down till you start to feel that thing start to kiss the bullet itself. There you go.
okay, shake the die for a sec. Wiggle the die.
It wiggles. Yeah.
Okay. That's what you're wanting to watch. Now keep going down till you start feeling resistance.
About right there. Wasn't very much.
Okay, now drop the ram just a little bit. Turn the die at 16th.
About right there.
A little more. Yeah. Now we'll go 8s. Okay. Now run the handle up. Now there you go. Now do this. When you run your handle up, don't go all the way up. Just bring it down about 1 inch.
Right
Now,
there.
Now turn your die the 8th.
Okay.
Now go up. Do you have wiggle?
No. That's
And-
pretty
and-
tight.
Yeah, and could you feel it? Could you feel that crimp ring engage on that turn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Even from me watching from a million miles away, looks to me like it was engaging.
Yeah, and it sounded
It
like
definitely engaged.
So now,
Um,
at the very edge of that mouth, you should have a discoloration where it made contact.
I do. Slight discoloration.
Yeah, a little shiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's kissing it just enough.
Mhm.
If you go any further now, you're gonna start cutting through that plate. You could go maybe a 16th more for a little more tightness around that, but you wouldn't want to go any more.
Right.
And these aren't going to be 25-yard rounds. These are going to be putting that pop can out at 10, 15 yards and just trigger time.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why I got into this. I really like shooting that revolver. And I don't know about where you guys live, but these Hornady rounds are about $1.37 a shot. And so for people wanting reloading.
Oh yeah, they're pricey. You know?
Everything new here, the brass, the bullets, I haven't reloaded yet.
Mm-hmm.
Under 40 cents a shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll save it. If you shoot 100 rounds a week, which isn't a lot for a lot of guys, you'll get that money back in a year. You know, the money that you spend on your setup, and plus you'll have better ammo. And I mentioned this once before, Jake. That I shoot a lot of plated bullets because I had a pretty good source for them, and I've probably got 20. I'm not gonna tell you how many I got sitting around here, but I got a whole bunch of them, and I'm gonna shoot them. But what I did to crimp my plated bullets is I went out and got this guy. I don't know if that'll focus, but that's the Redding Profile Crimp die.
Okay.
And it's just a die body. I don't know if you can see down in there.
I'm sorry. Let me get it off him. I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, if you look down in, Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see it in this light, but there is a little crimp ring in there. But the Redding Profile Crimp die does a really good job for me, anyway. And Highboy can probably confirm on these plated bullets because it gives it's like a partly tapered and partly roll, and the farther up you go, as you push that case up in there, in other words, the farther down your die is adjusted, the more roll crimp it starts to apply. But I've used this, and I've done the trick. I take my caliper to the range, I mark my last bullet in the revolver, measure it first, shoot 5, pull that one and measure it, and see if I've got any bullet movement, and it doesn't, even in heavy bullets like the 44. So that was a worthwhile investment. You can get this from Brownells for about $25 or something. It's a little bit expensive, but
It's made by Redding.
Yeah, Redding makes it. It's called the Profile Crimp die, and they make it for at least all the major pistol calibers. I don't know.
I'll send you the link.
Yeah, it would be a good addition if you want to shoot a lot of plated bullets. Because they're so much less expensive than jacketed. They're half the price of jacketed frequently. And that, if you can buy a 158 grain plated bullet for 12 cents compared to paying 28 cents or something for a jacketed bullet, again, that die will pay for itself pretty quickly.
Okay.
And you don't run the risk of cracking through that plating, which means even at lower velocities, it's more likely that the plating's going to peel off in your barrel and come spraying out the other end. Not that that'll hurt anything in particular, but anyway, I really like those dies, and I have them for all my major pistol calibers now.
Okay, I'll look into it. I need to get some more stuff.
You can never have too much stuff. Hey, the guy who dies with the most reloading stuff wins.
I know eventually I want to get in the rifle reloading.
That's why you're gonna want the T7.
Yeah, if you have a 223 like everybody else on the planet, that's a good one to start with. Pretty forgiving round. Components are cheap. Hey, here's that's the Elmer Keith bullet.
Okay.
It's called a lead forward. They got a lot of weight up in the front end of that. Here it is compared to a regular cast. That one happens to be an Oregon Trail 125 grain. But you can see the difference in size. That Keith bullet is a real long bullet. And you got to almost pay a little bit of attention with that much lead out in front of the case on a 357 Magnum. You got to look at your overall length and make sure that guy's not sticking out the end of your cylinder throat.
Okay.
But it's a great bullet. Mine actually cast out more than 158. They come out at about 165 grains, but good bullet to shoot, boy. Man, they're nasty. Get that sucker moving. Keith had a good idea with that lead forward design, and they work. And it's a very accurate bullet to shoot, surprisingly so, out of a 357.
Yeah. Good stuff. So what do you think, Jake? How did you feel about that?
I felt great. Like usual, I still made mistakes.
That'll never go away.
So one case that's ready to go, that's charged. When we were setting up the bullet seating die, I somehow managed to crimp it enough to not get a bullet in there.
I wondered that.
And one of the cases I never touched because I'm tired.
Yeah. You might be able to dump the powder, and you might be able to get your expander into there because it's beveled at the end. It might go into there and kind of work it back out, and it might roll it. So, do you guys want to, where you guys were talking about leading, you want to finish that, and then I'll run some powder charges? We got 31 on. So I just want to ask the viewers, how was that? How was that? Was that a pretty good live stream. I thought it was actually really good.
Hey, yeah, that was actually, going through all of the steps, and we, covered a lot of material, and, a lot of discussion came up, and it's like we were talking about one time before, I think, Highboy, every time we do this, the discussion can take a little bit different direction. And we uncover all kinds of good stuff from the guys that are out there watching. They got all kinds of ideas, and hey, I do it this way and it works for me, or I do it that way and it works for me, or I tried this and it didn't work, and that's all great. Hey, James, Loads of Bacon's here.
All right, man. Woo! Hey, so everyone that's not aware, I'm gonna put a link on here to the Reloaders Network. I told James I'd do that, and I always forget. So I just get so much going that you forget. But hang on.
And Jake, if you go check Loads of Bacon's channel out here a while back, he did a whole bunch of testing with some lead bullets into gelatin with 357 caliber stuff. Some interesting bullet designs and stuff. It's worth watching to go see what he did. He had quite a series, in fact, on a bunch of cast bullets that he tested in ballistic gel.
There you go. There's the Reloaders Network. Loads of Bacon. He says this is genuine and a nice person as you ever want to meet. He's a good friend. He's a good friend to everybody. He's a good example of how people really should be. And I got to tell you, some channels, like, they have Facebook accounts. I'll just tell you this. I'm over on the Facebook group for the 72 to 79 Ford trucks. And I met the owner, and he has a YouTube channel, and it's Rich Discoveries. And I just wanted to get some pictures from the group. And I asked him, do you mind if I get some pictures and let him know about my website? He said, sure. And he said, and would you mind telling your guys about me? He said, then I don't want to take any of your guys. You know what? I'm not here after the big numbers. You know what? Viewers are going to go where they want. I just like to be with friends and good topics. So go check out Loads of Bacon. And the other thing on YouTube, check this guy out.
Hey, Nick, good night, man.
Hey, thank you guys for watching.
Hey, thanks, Nick. Have a good night.
Loads of Bacon, have you ported all of your old YouTube videos with all of that testing stuff that you did back last year? Is that all ported over to the Reloaders Network now?
Hey, you want on Loads of Bacon? We'll put you on. You want on? Link coming your way. If you get on, you get on. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Bacon. I thought you had it all over there.
He's got him backed up.
Yeah.
What's that?
He's got every one of his videos on 5 different sites.
Yeah, that's great. There you go. Loads of Bacon. I just sent you a link to the Hangout. If you want to jump on. That would be awesome. So okay. So now I have this set up for 14 grains of 1400. That's the same charge that you're running there, and you were getting 3/10 of a grain spread, or 4/10. What was it, Jake?
Anywhere from 0.2 to 0.3
spread.
Yeah, I would be at 13 or 14, and sometimes be at 14.2.
Okay, so I'm gonna my Dylan went to sleep here. Hang on.
Beginning reloading is going Betty by. So we'll see you later, Michael. Thanks for stopping by.
Have a good night.
Okay, Michael. Hey, we got to talk this weekend. Okay. There's 14.2. 14.3. 14.3.
Okay, James. Yeah, James says he's got to hit the hay. He's a youngster. He's probably got a big job tomorrow, I'm sure. Get a little family time in before you hit the hay, I hope, James. Anyway, good night, man.
Good night. And good night, Slimfire 54.
There you go. Just so everyone knows. 14.3.
Okay.
Hang on. That way no one can call me a liar, right? Oh, he's really just back there doing all that. $14.3. There you go.
Yeah.
I had one that was 14.2. This powder it meters like no other. So I would say if you're around 2000s, you're doing pretty good. Very good.
Okay.
Very
Yeah, I
good.
mean, you're getting the same results I am.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys want to pick up on that where you were talking about leading?
Somebody in the comments had asked, because I was asking about lead bullets, and there was some conversation earlier about leading. Michael Cornish. Okay.
The leading comes when? Okay.
At high velocities, right?
Yes. Well, no.
Leading can come from a couple of different sources, and one that a lot of guys forget about is if you use a cast lead bullet that's very soft, like down close to pure lead, those hot gases back there can actually start melting the lead from around the base of the bullet before it gets very far down the barrel, and you can start getting leading that way. That's not the biggest culprit. The biggest culprit is gases blowing by the driving bands or the bearing surface of that bullet because it's too soft. And so, and the higher the pressures that you use and the faster you drive that bullet, the harder the bullet needs to be. But if you use a bullet that's too hard for a low velocity, that bullet diameter won't expand enough and completely fill the barrel. We call that obturation, so that it fills into the grooves and seals it so that the gases can't get by. So if you have one that's really hard at really low velocities, you could end up with a problem there, although that's not very common.
And that's why laser cast goes 1,000th diameter over.
Well, yeah, all our cast bullets, we want them to be at least 1,000th over bore diameter.
Okay, when I said 1,000th over, I meant that's the other night. Like those other manufacturers were for the 44 caliber, they were 0.430.
Yeah.
Oregon Trail is 0.431. That's right. How they get around that.
Right. And that's important to know. You gotta know those numbers. If you've got that hard cast bullet, it needs to seal that barrel. So what Laser Cast has done is their bullets are 0.431 and instead of 0.430, and a lot of our 44 barrels are 0.429. So you're getting 1 or 2 thousandths over. 2 thousandths over is not too much. 5 thousandths over is too much.
Yeah. But
we always want our cast bullets to be at least 1,000th over bore, so that it will obturate that barrel properly. If they're too skinny, you're going to have leading problems for sure.
Okay.
So now the other thing I was going to say is what it's not okay. Yes, high pressures causes leading, like technical. What causes leading is Okay. Where's my?
And
Where's my pointer? There's my pointer.
I just misspoke too. I keep saying barrel, and that's not really right for revolvers. We're more interested in these bullets fitting the chamber throat. I was
gonna say, yeah, but yeah, it both plays into it. Okay, this is the drive band. Okay, when the gases, okay, your gases come and nail the base of that bullet. If your gases get around that bullet, that's when you get leading.
Right.
What causes that? Okay, what causes that? Technically, what's the gas trying to do? The gas is trying to beat the bullet out the bore. It wants it around. And so, what Walter was saying, if you have a hard cast bullet that is not sized properly, and when the gas hits, it kind of mushrooms the base of the bullet for a nice feel, and then it pushes it, okay? But if you have a hard cast bullet that it just does not want to mushroom, and it's not sized right, what happens is the gas hits the base, and it slips around, and the bullet just kind of slows down in the bore. Because the gas, here's the bullet, gas is gone, gas went right around it. And that will get you leading. Even Bernil hardness of 24, that would get you leading. But what Oregon Trail does is it's a 2,000ths over, okay? So what causes leading is that gas getting around, going by those drive bands, and that's what gives it. But what causes that to get around? Too high pressure, okay?
Yeah.
Unless you're running Oregon Trail, I'm telling you, I can run an Oregon Trail. I can load my 44 mag up so hot. It's all I can do. On my 44 Magnum, I've had that thing so hot, I had blood going up my arm because that doggone Dragoon style grip on the Rugers, and it cuts your finger, and it just slings that blood, and so you got to put the the leather gloves on, and I'm just sitting there going, wham! I love it. I do.
Right.
Wham! And I sit there and run I don't know, 4 or 5 cylinder fulls, and I don't get any leading. You can run the laser cast as hard as you want. So,
Rat's asking, does tin help with the size? No. What we do, the reason that we put tin into our alloy is to increase the hardness a little bit, and the tin in our alloy helps the alloy fill out the mold a little bit better. In other words, as you drain the lead or pour it into your mold, we've got all of these screws and stuff we want to get filled out, and we want the base of the bullet to be filled out. We want the nose to be all filled out properly in that mold. The tin helps that lead flow just a little bit better than pure lead does, and it adds to the hardness a little bit as well. But it doesn't do anything as far as the size. That's going to be controlled by your mold and the sizing die that you use. Not always, but many times when the bullets come out of the mold, they're not quite right. They're a little fat for your particular firearm. So we run them through a sizing die to get them exactly where we want them. It's another benefit of casting your own bullets. You can make these, if you need .431, you can have .431. If you want them at 429, you can size them to 429. So
yeah.
Highboy, did you share a bullet sizing video the other day on Facebook on the Highboy channel or the Highboy page?
You say, did I share it?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I might have.
I thought you did. So I was trying to figure out what they were doing, but now that he explained that just now, I think I got it.
Oh, it was what a laser cast video. Yeah, that's what.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. So they're going to run their bullets through a machine that makes sure that those guys are at the size they want them, and that every one of them is the same diameter. When we cast bullets with a 6-gang mold, cast 6 at a time, all of those cavities are not identical. And right. I don't care what manufacturer. So they can be off by 1,000th. one way or the other. So usually we run them through a sizing die. And when we powder coat, that can add as much as 2/1000ths to the diameter. So sometimes you need a little more thickness and you just leave it that way, but oftentimes that makes them a little too fat. So you got to size those back down.
So Reloader Dude's on. How you doing there, buddy? It's good to see you, man. I miss you. I don't hear from you enough.
Hi, Reloader Dude.
He's a good guy, man. He's another really good one.
He is. He's got a great channel going as well.
I think that everyone that I've met over on the Loaders Network, it's just really neat. I just talked with Elijah. I don't know the name of his channel. He told me. What's the name of Elijah's channel? Loads of Bacon. I want to make a comment, okay? These are dangerous comments. When I started my channel, a lot of people don't know this, but Hornady called me when they saw my videos. They called me, and they took the number off of my press and ran it in their system, and they had my phone number, right? And so they were wanting to do all this really awesome stuff and work with me and supply me with product, and that relationship ended. It ended. Wouldn't talk to me no more. No more. Because I said something.
I had a girlfriend like that.
What's that?
I said I had a girlfriend like that.
Yeah.
Not you, Catherine. Not you.
Yeah. So this is what I said. One of the things I said. This is what I said. When you have a lock and load system where you can interchange your dies, now you look at how right I am. Jake here, he's been loading a little while, but he's been struggling with the dies. So now we just showed him how to set his dies up, right? So let's say he had a lock and load bushing system, and let's say all he did was interchange those dies, and he had no video to reference. The next time he had to break the die down or make adjustments, he would be lost. What's the moral of the story? What's that?
I wouldn't learn it.
Yeah. The moral of the story is he is running the threaded setup like I'm running. That's how I have guys that say, gosh, your die's really good. Because this is how I did it until, I'm 53 years old. I've had my channel a little over 6 years. I started getting into the different equipment a couple of years before my channel. So, about 8 years now, I've been running this fancy equipment. But I ran the threads where I always had to reset my dies up from scratch off of single stage presses or whatever I was running, like my Pontius Warren. So the moral of the story is this. If you have a lock and load setup or a lead breech lock where you remove the dies, initially, don't use those. Tear your dies down and set them up. Do it 100 times till you're really good at it. Because I'm going to tell you guys, this is a true story. So my dad's last years, he didn't really reload. Probably 5 years had went by. And I went over to his house and we were talking. And he said, we were talking about a certain load. He goes, yeah, come out to the garage. And he's taken a die, a seat die, and he looks at it. He's messing with it. And he said, Jim, I forgot how to set this die up. No, my dad was in his 60s. He'd been reloading since he's 40 some odd years. And that man, and you know what? I loved him. He was getting older, right? And he'd been fishing. And he said, Jim, I don't remember how to set that up. Then all of a sudden he goes, oh yeah. And he got right on it, right? So you can get rusty. But if you do it through repetitious, once you understand how the die is built, then you own it, okay? So Jake will get very good because he's doing it the old school way.
Yeah, good and good
So-
for you. That's a good way to go.
It's funny
Yeah.
you brought that system up because I almost went with one of their kits. I was looking for a kit to start with, primarily because I want to be able to get everything or more stuff together at one time.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to piece everything together. And I was at Cabela's, and I asked another guy shopping for loading equipment what to get, and he said, go with the RCBS single stage and buy RCBS dies, blah, 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 blah. But he comes down and he goes, after later on, you get yourself a Hornet conversion kit. And I actually bought one. I don't use it. I don't plan on using it because I want to do other cartridges. And these are about $10 for 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But you said that. I'm looking down. I got it down here right in front of me as you're saying that story.
Well, there's nothing wrong with them. But I will say that that'd be the nice thing about your T7 is once you get the tool head set up, you can leave them set up. You know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're doing it right, and I really like that. I would have to say that if I bought my Hornady because for the kit at the time, you could not beat that kit. It was coming in probably $50 less than RCBS. But now, had RCBS been anywhere close to the same, I'd have taken RCBS over the Hornady any day, without a doubt.
Yeah, hindsight's always been 2020, as they say, and I think a lot of us would have started differently. But
Good night, Sunfire.
Oh, good night. Yeah. A lot of us started back before technology was even a thing, and the nearest guy to you that's a reloader to learn from might be 50 miles away, and you couldn't talk to him like we do now.
Right.
Yeah.
It was learned by doing, man, and making your mistakes and learning from your mistakes. And I think we all could say that we bought stuff that we had we known what we know now, might not have. But you're off on a great start. And like Highboy was saying, load the devil out of these 38s and 357s. Get good at that caliber, and then maybe think about another press or a different set of maybe try a set of Redding dies on the next caliber you decide to load and see how you like those. And I use. I said before, I'm not stuck on one particular caliber. I have some Lee dies that I use for some things, and I have some RCBS that I use. I'm going to start loading for 4440, and I got this nice cowboy set of RCBS dies. But we opened a box, and I don't know if anybody's ever seen a 4440 case, but they're like paper thin up at the case. So guess what's living in that box already? What is that, Highboy?
Yeah, profile.
That's a Redding profile die, profile crypt die that's in there. So I mix and match. Here's this is my current 38 357 set. And this is some good stuff, boys and girls. I'm telling you, this little baby right here, that Redding expander die is the best one that I found for my cast bullets. It does a better job on a cast bullet that's a little bit bigger for one of my revolvers. And in order to get a standard RCBS die to flare it enough so that I don't shave lead off as I seat that bullet, the case mouth looks like a trumpet. Well, this guy solved that. It produces a way better shape.
Because of that step, huh? It's because of that step.
I love it.
I think that step pushes everything out. And then, what you got there, Jake?
A trumpet.
Yeah, I saw that.
We do that too much. You start overworking them like that, and we start, work hardening the end of that case and they start getting brittle. And
It won't even fit in the die.
No, it's done. Well, okay, Jake. So I'll tell you this, man. This isn't the last live stream you can be
Seriously.
on. You're one of the guys in the pot we can pick out of to jump on. And why don't you kind of work? You know what I think you should do is shoot these 20 and come back and load them up. And these being plated bullets, I think that if you like the min charge better, I would stay there and
Okay.
load them up 3 or 4 times, and then you really understand how to set your dies up. And we'll do another one, and we can see just the improvement and your comfort level. And honestly, I think you did great.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. You know, the first time I did it, I had a YouTube video going. I had my book over here and a YouTube video going across the house on the TV. And I had my phone on the internet researching it.
Hey, all of those gurus and sources at one time, man, it's got to be good.
That's great.
And you'll still make mistakes. You know, we all still make mistakes. You get to going along and you're daydreaming or something instead of focusing, or the phone rings or something, and you come back and, oh man, you know, you crush a case or some weird thing happens. And I think one of the best things that experience can teach us is how to recognize when we have made a mistake, you know, so that you've done it enough times, you know what those rounds are supposed to look like at each stage of the operation, and by feel or by sight, after a while you can recognize instantly whether that primer's not seated enough, or whether the flare is bad, or the crimp doesn't feel right. That's all experience, and that's what's going to tell you when you've made your mistakes. And your press and your dies, they're going to tell you every time, you know, along with your eyes, if you've made a mistake. So, and we all do it. Anybody who says they don't make mistakes when they're loading is hiding something.
So I want to say something before we'll end this pretty quick. Anybody that wants to do what Jake did, what Jake and I did is we just got together one night, and I sat there and he kept moving his camera angles till it looked good, and I put it onto where he was watching it, and we didn't talk about anything. We didn't talk about reloading. We didn't talk about the recipe. And then he was comfortable. And then he got home from work and turned it on and set his Apple up. So anyone is welcome to do that. And I don't care how much experience you have. The more experience you have, more helps me, because I don't know how to reload. And Walter doesn't either. Walter doesn't know. And so now
Jake, all right here, man.
And Jake doesn't even know now. So anyone's welcome to get on. I really don't want this to show be about me. I might I guess I host it off my platform, but it's not about me. It's just we have fun. That's all. So anyone that wants on, you can be on. Yeah.
Let us know how those rounds work for you, Jake, when you go out and shoot them. If you shoot a paper target or something, take a picture of it, and you know, be sure you write down your results, take notes as you go along on how that particular load performed for you. That's another big important step, I think, you know, is you got to have some kind of a record keeping system to keep track of.
That's where I am really bad.
In a place to keep notes. You know, my chronograph, I've got a chronograph book that thick of pages of stuff that I've chronographed and records that I keep, so I can go back and look. I know what all those velocities are, and I write notes in the margins all over the place. You know, that Lyman manual, I'm not afraid to write in that sucker either. I'm going to get a new version of it in a year or two anyway. So write stuff in the margins as you go along, if nothing else. You know, circle the loads that work. Okay, so what we're going to do, Jake, stay on after we turn this off.
Okay.
I'm going to have Jake. I want everybody to just say thanks, Jake, and he's going to call you out. We got guys signing out, and we want to make sure we call them off. So go for it. Okay, guys, say thanks, Jake.
Walter Bunning. Have a good night. Thank you. Jimmy Rodriguez. Thank you for watching. Steve Crawford, Dub the Kid 84, Ratchet Man. Thank you guys. That was a pretty good live feed tonight, guys. We were up to 40.
Yeah, we still got 24.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, huh?
Highboy, 76 Highboy, thank you.
Thank you.
Corsair 357, KJ Shooter, and Tim Pays. Thank you guys for sticking around watching. Charles Miller Jr. Thanks, Jake. Welcome to Reloading. May you enjoy reloading for a lifetime. Thanks, man. You too. I like it. It's a great hobby.
That's great.
Anybody else or everybody else fall asleep?
Maybe.
See, they dozed off.
Mike Force 1. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, so by the way, I have a Bible study tomorrow. It's going to be, I believe it's going to be 4 o'clock Mountain Time. 4 o'clock Mountain Time. But check the website for the actual time. I think it's 4 o'clock Mountain Time. It's going to be a very good Bible study. So, yeah. I'll just tell you what it's all about. Are you ready? It's about pornography. Yeah, tough. It's a tough subject to do, but that's what it's about. So if you want to jump in, you can all beat me up there, okay? So, all right. What's that?
Oh, we got Beginning Reloading. He was signing out.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Quick comment here. A couple guys asked me on Facebook how I made out with the motorcycle incident Sunday, and I was fine. The bike's DOA though.
You were fine. What?
Oh, I had a incident with a motorcycle on Sunday coming back from Death Valley, but I rode through it, but the bike's shot to toast. My drive shaft came apart at 70 miles an hour. Not fun.
That's not good. That's not good.
Back wheel locked up. But anyway, new bike time.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're gonna sign off, but first, we got a prayer request. So I'm gonna tell you guys, Michael's asking for prayer. I saw in the comments that they might have diagnosed his daughter with ALS. So you need to go research ALS. Okay. So I'm gonna bow my head. I'm gonna pray. If you pray along, it would be very grateful. But when someone asks for prayer, I give it. That's just how it is. So I'm going to pray. Lord Father, hey, Michael, real quick, what's your daughter's name? This is what I live for. Him. That's why my channel exists. It's not. The reloading is icing on the cake, but I live for God. That's what I live for.
Hey,
what's your daughter's name? Okay, here we go. Lord Father in heaven, Father, I humble myself before you, and I offer these viewers to you as your humble servants, and we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. And Lord, we lift Haley, and we lift Michael and Paulette and all their kids up to you. And but we lift extra high Haley tonight because, Father, possible ALS diagnosis, but Lord, I know something. I know something, Father. You answer prayers, and you're the great physician. So this is what I'm asking. I'm asking that you would begin bringing good, godly people in her life that are part of the medical world. I pray that you'd bring wise people that could make good decisions, and I pray you'd open their eyes and that you would take your healing hands and put them upon her. And I do pray, Father, that you would have angels around her as she's going through this, ministering, Lord, in every way that you see in their capacity. I just thank you, Father, for these viewers. I pray for everyone that's following along, whether they're praying or they're not, whether they believe or they don't. I pray, Father, that ultimately every one of these viewers would know you and realize how much you love them and that the salvation they have in you is for Jesus Christ. I pray that, Father. I pray that with great faith. And I thank you that we have such great friends. I really do. I'm very humbled. So we thank you that Michael would just reach out and ask for prayer for his daughter, and we humble ourselves in doing so. In your son Jesus' name we pray. Amen. There we go, man. That's what I'm about right there, man. That's what I'm about. So, okay. We are out in 3, 2, 1.